Happy Friday, everyone. Eve here at the Greener Village. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to make apple pie filling. Beautiful fall coming up. We've got apples aplenty here in New Brunswick. So what do? You can make apple sauce, you can make apple pie. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make a filling that you can hold and keep in your fridge and take out whenever you need it. You can make a crumble, you can put it on ice cream. Sky's the limit. Let me show you how. Okay, first you're going to want to do is grab probably about a half dozen or so apples. You're going to need about 4 cups of apples for this recipe. Easy enough. We're just going to slice them. To slice them first, you're going to peel them. Some people don't want to peel them. Depends on what you're going to use them for. I like to peel them. Just to make sure that you're not getting, it's the mouth feel, really. You don't want to feel all those peelings when you're working with your apples. So we're going to cut up about 4 cups here. Right like that. You can dice them, you can slice them any which way, as long as they're in small pieces that'll fit on your fork. Okay. So we've got about 4 cups right here. We'll save that one for a snack. Put that in the trash. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add our 4 cups of apples to this bowl. I've got about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now we're going to grab that and we're going to mix it all together. It's called acidulating your apples. What it does is you'll notice that some of these, because I pre-cut them a little bit, have turned brown. What you want is you want a nice white apple. So we're going to grab that, we're going to acidulate them, and then we're just going to set them aside. Okay? Now in a saucepan or in a deep skillet or so, you're going to add 3 cups of water, a tablespoon or a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg or allspice. I like to use garam masala. It just adds just a little bit of a different feel. But basically your simple apple pie mix. And a 1/3 cup of cornstarch. So we're just going to mix that all together. And make sure you mix it really well because you don't want any lumps or anything like that from the cornstarch. And we're going to turn that on high. And we're going to let that get to a simmer. And to that as well, we're just going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right. That's going. And you want to add, it says here, 1.25 cups of granulated sugar. Everything bees here at the Greater Village lately because I just harvested some, so I'm using honey. You don't have to use honey, but I am. But remember, when you're using honey, it's twice as sweet as regular sugar. So instead of putting 1.25 cups, I am only putting about 3/4 cup of honey in this mixture. All right. And just make sure everything is whisked nice. Now, while that's getting warm, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to make a streusel. A streusel is just basically a crumb topping. So if you're going to make something like an apple pie, we're going to put these in these pie shells later, or if you're going to make a crumble or anything like that, streusel's nice, easy, and quick thing to make. And it's good. You can top muffins, you can top any other kind of dessert, which is fun. So we're going to start off with 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You can use whole wheat flour if you'd like. 1 cup of brown sugar. And because we're doing the streusel for apples, I'm going to put in a teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay. And then to that, I'm going to add 3/4 cups of butter or softened margarine if the budget doesn't allow butter, but always go with butter if you can. Give that a good mix, make sure it's still doing what we want it to do. Now, basically, this comes the fun part. With clean hands, And if you don't want to get your fingers all dirty, you can always wear a pair of gloves. But nice clean hands. All we're going to do is we're going to mix everything together until we get this nice, lovely, well, crumbly crumb. And that's why it's called a crumb topping, or a streusel to sound fancy. Now to this, if you're making it crisp, all you're going to want to do is you're just going to add probably a cup and a half of oatmeal to this, and it'll give you your topping. Just finally work it through. Here we go. All right, Shannon, is there any questions at this time? No? Yeah, and just keep on working with your hands until everything becomes nice and crumbly. All right, now give my hands a quick wash. All right, and back to the matter at hand. So, now this is boiling or simmering. We're just going to add our apples to that. And basically, just cook them out until they get nice and soft. And once they're nice and soft, what you do is you just turn the heat off, let it cool down to room temperature, and then add it to either a jar, you seal, you put it in the fridge, you put it into a Ziploc bag, a bigger one, because that won't fit all of this, and then you can freeze it, or you can put it in a vacuum seal bag, vacuum seal them, and freeze them. It's great. Then you have your apple pie filling ready for anything you need to do. Like I said, apple pie for your turnovers, for any kind of apple dumpling, or apple pie, apple crumble. It's a really nice base you can use to start with. All right, we're gonna let that cook out. So while we're doing that, I'm just gonna start cleaning up. It's always important to clean as you go. That way cooking doesn't become more overwhelming. And you want it to have it be simple and fun. If you've got kids and you can talk them into it, good luck, but they might want to help you with the dishes. Mine don't, but... Oh, there we go. Now, as this cools, it will thicken and set right up nice. So this should take 5 to 10 minutes to soften. You don't want them super soft. Well, I don't want them super soft, so I always like to have a little bit of a bite. And especially if you're going to put it into an apple pie, they're going to bake again, so you want to have a little bit of texture in your apples, not just applesauce pie. So we're going to let those run a little bit until we start seeing some nice bubble simmer action happening, and then I'll just remove it from the stove. And we'll build a lovely pie for my volunteers, and they'll be able to enjoy that on Monday when they come in. Wait till that gets a little bit more bubbly, a little more active. Now, what's nice about this is that I've used cornstarch and I didn't use flour, which means that it is gluten-free. And but if you wanted to, you could replace your flour with your cornstarch. This is a little bit more traditional way of doing it. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the heat off, let the rest of that cool. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to, with a better spoon, or even a ladle, that'll work well. We'll pick up some of the apples and some of the juice. We'll just fill our pre-made pie shell that I made ahead of time in another class. There we go. So this recipe should fill or make enough for theoretically 2 pies. A little more sauce on that. There we go. And then you just basically take your streusel and crumble it on like that. There we go, there it is. There we go. And then that's ready for the oven. Bake it at 350 for until it's done, I guess, but I would say about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And it should be nice and tasty. So tune in next week again. Seeing that we can't have people in for classes, I think this is the best way I have to offer classes. So instead of the Thursday classes, we'll be doing our Facebook Live Friday classes. So join me next week where I'm going to show you guys how to 8-piece poultry. All right. Thank you.